Hello everyone. So here in this problem we have to evaluate limit x tends to infinity square root of x square minus 3 upon cube root of x cube plus 1. Now if you'll observe the given limit, then here we have x tends to infinity, and whenever we have x tends to infinity we substitute x as 1 upon t. So here I will put x as 1 upon t. So when we will substitute x as 1 upon t, this function will become function of t, and limit will also shift from x domain to t domain. So hence we have to find out the limit for t domain. So as x tends to infinity, then t will tend to 0, and hence I'll say here as x tends to infinity, t tends to 0. So therefore this limit, I am considering this as L, will become limit t tends to 0 square root of x is 1 upon t, so 1 upon t the whole square minus 3 upon cube root of 1 upon t the whole cube plus 1. So now therefore L will become limit t tends to 0, this is square root of 1 upon t square minus 3 upon cube root of 1 upon t cube plus 1. So after this, taking LCM, here we will get 1 minus 3t square upon t square, and here 1 plus t cube upon t cube. So therefore L equals to limit t tends to 0 square root of 1 minus 3t square upon t square whole upon cube root of 1 plus t cube upon t cube. Now let's take square root in the numerator and cube root in the denominator. So therefore here we will get L as limit t tends to 0. Here we will get square root of 1 minus 3t square, and square root of t square is t, so upon t whole upon, here we will get cube root of 1 plus t cube, and cube root of t cube is t. So by cancelling t from numerator as well as from denominator, we will get L as limit t tends to 0 square root of 1 minus 3t square upon cube root of 1 plus t cube. And if you will observe here, then we have algebraic function and limit is tending towards 0. This t is tending towards 0. So therefore here I will apply direct method, and by direct method here we will get 1 minus, that is square root of 1 minus 3 into 0 square upon cube root of 1 plus 0 cube, and if we will calculate the value, then here we will get 1, here we will get 1, and hence the answer is 1. So the value of given limit is 1. Thank you.